Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Smoking Sous Vide. Now, I've had this question a few times. How cold can you do smoking? Well, today it's minus 35 degrees Celsius. So it's a couple days after Christmas here, and we're going to do some smoked pork ribs. We're going to keep it simple, and I'm going to show you that you can actually do smoking at minus 35 degrees Celsius. So stay tuned. All right, so to prepare for this minus 35 degrees Celsius smoke, we're going to do some pork ribs. Now, I've just got a mixture of salt, pepper, and paprika. It's kosher salt, coarse ground black pepper, and paprika. No sugar, no garlic powder. Some people are hypersensitive to some foods, and the garlic powder from Costco can actually give a allergic reaction. So what we're going to do is, I've taken the membrane off of this side. It's a cheap pack of ribs, nothing too fancy here. And I'm just going to season that on both sides. We're going to let this sit while the smoker warms up. Get that spice to penetrate into that meat a bit. So, let's see, yeah, you don't need anything quality for this, just, whatever you want. I got these ribs on sale. That's my favorite. On sale meat. Okay. 1 tablespoon for each of these. I'm going to make a mess no matter how hard you try not to, unless you get a big tub. Okay, so you'll see the paprika gives a nice red color to the meat. That's just nice and appealing. It makes it look really nice. I've done these just with salt and pepper too. But I use up that full tablespoon of each of the spices, so it's 3 tablespoons total. And there we go. That's good enough to sort of let that sit for a bit, let those spices get into the meat, and then we'll put that on the smoker. All right, so I'm going to prepare the smoker, and I'm going to bring you outside to watch that minus 35 start to the smoker. All right, so we're outside. It's minus 35. Unlike what some people have heard, I can come out in this kind of clothing for a little bit of time. Now, I'm going to work fast. As you can see, my smoker, nice acorn charcoal smoker, covered in snow. But one thing you're going to find is that top vent is frozen solid. It gets a little sun on during the day. So we're going to work fairly quickly here, because even the butane is going to get cold and not want to work really quickly. So I'll take my smoker stone out, put that in the snowbank. More charcoal out. I'm not going to use the rapid starter. I'm just going to get a nice layer of charcoal in there. You can see how much charcoal is in here. I'm going to put some fire starter in the middle. Open up. Try to open up my vent. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start this first. So we've got that charcoal lit. Follow it around that fire starter a bit. And then open up the bottom vent. Get that finally opened. That's going to get some air to that. We're going to let that sit until it gets a good start to that charcoal. I cannot get this open right now. I cannot close that at all, which I don't want to do while it's starting anyways. But we'll show you how we get that going here in a little bit. All right, so back inside before I get too cold. So again, minus 35 out here. So this is a cup of boiling water. I'm just going to show you this little trick in that. So you take this and throw it up in the air. Oh, snow. Very little of that water hits the ground. So the other thing you do is always wear gloves. You're not going to touch steel with bare hands. Okay? So the flames are going fairly decently, but my barbecue is still frozen on the top. I can't get that. So all I do is I take Take something with oh, there's my grate lifter. And I just put that in here to give it a little bit of a crack so the air can still go. The heat's going to trap up here, and eventually this will start to melt and it'll thaw, and then I can actually manipulate it. The temperature gauge is going to be so far down it won't matter, and you're just going to let that heat build in here for a bit so that you can actually start working the mechanical parts. But you don't want to stay out here too long. I'm already starting to feel the cold. I'm going to go back inside while this heats up. Okay, so as you can see through the smoke, it's temperature gauge is frosted right up, but see how there's heat here now, so that suddenly just slides open. So now we can get this thing to where we want. We're going to lift that up. We're going to put our smoker stove in. It's going medium well in that middle. I don't want them all burning hot. So assemble that smoker in there. Yeah, a little bit of snow, that's just going to melt. Not going to extinguish the flames or anything. Whew. Set that nice and low. Just 1.5 down there, and one on there. And we're going to let that sit for a while. Put our tools back. Let that stabilize to about 225 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we'll put our ribs on. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes. The temperature of the smoker seems to be fairly stabilized, but we're not really trusting the dial thermometer on the front because of the extreme cold. So it says about 175 degrees Fahrenheit. That's probably not true. So what we're going to do is open it up, and we're going to take my temperature probes for barbecue. Now there's a couple challenges here. So first of all, we're just going to stick these in. Again, the good thing we're wearing gloves for the cold, because that allows us to put these in too. So we're just going to get these on the over top of that smoker plate so they're not getting a direct blast. And then we're going to take the ribs. We're going to stick those just in. Oops, I have hooked one of my probes. Slide that off onto here. Put this probe back on. Put the meat under there. So now we've got the meat on the smoker. So that should be good. One probe slid back. Everything's in place. I'm going to close that lid up. And you see it's not pumping out a lot of heat. So we're going to open the vents a little bit more, just to make sure that heat gets up. But one challenge with this, electronics freeze at below about minus 20, minus 25. So this thing will stop working as an electronic unit. So it's magnetic. I'm going to stick it right to the smoker. That does stop it from getting so cold that it will not work. So, just having that magnetically there, and we're good. So we'll see what kind of temperature that stabilizes at, and we'll come back and check on it. Well, we can check on it from inside, which is better. So we'll see where it stabilizes. We want that 235 degrees average temperature in there. All right, talk to you in a bit. Okay, so we've stabilized about 250, 270 in there. That'll drop over time now that it's stabilized. And as you can see, I can look outside at that smoker just to make sure it's going okay. But it's always nicer to do this from inside. So, you can monitor it inside, and you've got the temperature probes you can see. So those ribs will sit there for about 3 hours, smoking delicately, between 200 and 275. But we'll keep an eye on them. All right, talk to you later. Okay, so we're about an hour into the cook. You can see that the temperature probe still working out there through the screen there. And the temperature's been slowly going down. I just tweaked it up a bit now, so you'll probably see it climb a little bit. But you don't want it to go, below that 200 degrees mark, and never above about 275.
Hello.
Okay, so I've checked the ribs just once here, but they've been on for 4 hours now. So it's around 250 degrees. So let's take a look at this. You'll see that it's kind of a lot of smoke and steam here, but they've got that nice color texture. They look relatively cooked. They're nicely browned. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take these and put them in foil. But rather than use 100% foil to wrap these in, I'd like to save a little bit. I put these into a pan. And you can see they're already pretty flexible. And I'll just take that and snap that one in half and bend it back around. Okay, so we got that fitting in the pan nicely. Take this part, do the same thing, just get it in there. Now we're going to take some apple juice and just, we're going to put this back on here because it's so cold out. We're going to pour about half a jug of apple juice in here. The apple juice will then steam it while it's with the foil and kind of tenderize that meat. It'll make it fall off the bone tender. Now if you don't want it to fall off the bone tender, you can continue cooking it on the cooker. And I'm just on the smoker plain. And you'll see when it's nice and tender. So I like to turn your side down. Wrap that in there. Nice and tight so it doesn't leak. Just crimp in all the corners. Move our temperature probes out of the way so they're not being interfered with. I'm going to put that back on the smoker just like that for another 2 hours. And that rib meat will be so tender it'll be just falling off the bone. And your family's going to love it. But we'll check on that in 2 more hours. All right, so it's been a couple hours that the ribs have been in the pan. It's just to prove to you it's still really cold, even though it looks really nice and sunny here. We'll do the water jump. Okay? And look, it's all snow. Warmed up to about -30 without the wind chill. So this morning, just down the hill, the weather station said -41 with a wind chill of -50. Here it was -37 on my weather station, but my wind anemometer is not, it's kind of frozen, so I don't really get the wind, but there's not much. So if it's windy, I will not be dressing like this. So yeah, so we'll open that up. We're going to bring these ribs inside. So they've had the 2 hours to steam. You could put them on and try to firm them up a little bit if you don't like the fall off the bone part, but this is plenty good for us. We're going to choke that down, bring all this inside, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so 6 hours on the smoker at -30 and to -37 degrees today. That's without the wind chill. That's static temperature. So the ribs aren't in the wind. That doesn't matter. So let's just take a look at this. Well, there they are. I'm just gonna reach. And you can see that one piece. It's mostly meat and cartilage. It's nice and tender, right? It's falling apart. Let's just take some of the bone meat here. Oh, it just falls apart. Cut a couple of those ribs. Again, salt, pepper, and paprika here. Nothing fancy. But you look at that meat. Nice, kind of moist. Falls off the bone. Just pulls apart. Oh. This is great. Simple recipe, easy to do, and even at -37 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. So that's about pretty close to -40 Fahrenheit too. So in case you don't know Celsius. So charcoal smokers aren't limited by the temperature outside, other than to get it going. So, proves that we can do this. Proves that the cold will not stop us in Canada. Yay. And it's a simple, easy recipe that turns out great no matter what time of year you're having it. So if you like this video, subscribe. We've got other videos online. If you have ideas for other videos, let me know. But we'll see you next time. Click subscribe and wait for more.